A few people have been hitting me up lately asking my thoughts on the GoPro ILS, what I think of that system, and whether that's what I've been using here. It's not what I've been using, but this has given me a pretty good idea of what I think the GoPro ILS will go like. First of all, I think the GoPro ILS idea is great. As someone who flies drones and likes to change lenses and use different lenses on different cameras, I really appreciate that GoPro has made the effort to make an interchangeable lens mount system. I think that is a step in the right direction. I think it's something that they probably could have done a long time ago, and I think that might have helped their financial situation somewhat. But hey, here we are. They've done it now, so let's be thankful that they've taken a step in this direction, and hopefully it continues on. Now, where I think they might have missed the mark a little bit is that I think the sensor size and lens mount choice just doesn't quite fit. We've seen this in the past with the Blackmagic Pocket Cinema camera. The first one, released in 2013, it had the Micro Four Thirds mount, and it also had a very similar sensor size, close to 1 inch, which gave you a 3 times crop on whatever focal length you have on your lens. And this is something that everyone had a problem with the Blackmagic Pocket Cinema camera. It was very hard to get a wide field of view, a very wide focal length, and that's where things started to come along. Brian Cadwell made the Blackmagic Speed Booster, the specific one for that Pocket Cinema camera. It had a 0.58 times focal reduction, which brought you back down to something closer to Micro Four Thirds or a little bit above, but it still didn't fix the problem. You still had a crop. It wasn't like you put a full frame lens on and it was full frame. You could put a Super 35 lens on and it got closer to that. But anyway, I digress. Point being, you still needed to buy a speed booster, and that speed booster was expensive. That speed booster costed $600 or something, maybe more in Australia. And it needed an active mount because most of those lenses for EF aren't manual lenses. They need electronic connection. The GoPro doesn't have electronic connection. So you're going to be very limited. You're going to be limited to EF lenses that are manual. And if that Blackmagic speed booster fits for the BMP-CC, that's a potential option. You possibly could use it on the GoPro. But then again, you've just made a very small camera, something close to this size, massive, with a speed booster on top and an EF lens. You've just added tons of weight. You've made something that is no longer portable. So why would you buy that? Just buy a different camera. At that point, you've spent, $600, $700 on a speed booster. You've spent $700 on a GoPro, $600 or $700. You're way above just a regular camera. You could buy many cameras at that price range that would do a better job and then have an active mount. So I think you see where I'm going here, that I think GoPro missed the mark on the interchangeable lens system. I think what they've done is they've made the classic GoPro, they've upgraded the sensor size to 1 inch to get better low light and better image quality, better resolution. That all makes sense. But then they've just thrown a Micro Four Thirds lens mount on top of it without really thinking about what lenses fit it and how people are going to navigate that. With something like this, which is actually a backbone modified Hero 11, you could also put Micro Four Thirds mount on this, but it came natively with this mount, which is a C-mount lens, which screws on. But you could screw a Micro Four Thirds mount on top of this mount if you wanted to adapt to that. But in this use case, C-mount makes a lot more sense because the sensor size is smaller. There's a lot of these lenses available for industrial use cases that have very good image quality. This is a 3.5 lens. I also have a 4.5 Koa. I have a 6mm Koa lens. You can even get wider than these lenses. There's many lenses you can use that fit C-mount very well. And I think GoPro, should have done something similar. I think they should have just used the same sensor size they used in the 11, stuck to the 8:7 aspect ratio, and just delivered us a changeable lens mount. Upgrade the processor, maybe upgrade the sensor slightly, give us something else, give us RAW shooting capability, or give us 12-bit color instead of 10-bit. Add something slightly to it, and you've got a very small, capable crash cam, or a camera that goes on drones very well. And I think this would sell really well. I think the C-mount version of the new GoPro was just missing the mark a bit. It's too heavy. It's 50 grams heavier than this camera without any lenses. And it's just not going to be as versatile, I think, as GoPro assumes people will think it would be. Because at that point, if you're already putting, speed boosters or lenses for bigger formats, why wouldn't you just choose a camera that already has a bigger sensor, like a Micro Four Thirds sensor? Why wouldn't you just choose something like the new Blackmagic, the G2? It's in a cube factor, doesn't weigh that much more. If you're already putting a bigger lens on it, you might as well just get the Blackmagic. You can shoot 4K and in RAW. Going to get a lot better image quality out of the Blackmagic. I think I really want to like the GoPro. I really want to buy it. I really want to use it. Look, I've done this. I've spent as much as this GoPro costs just to modify it to C-mount. And this gives really, really good results. On a drone, this is amazing. I wish GoPro had just done something more similar to this. What they've done is create something that they think is for cinema uses, but the problem is if people are going to use longer lenses and bigger lenses and heavier lenses, they're just going to use a bigger camera. The only reason you want to use a GoPro is because it fits in tight spaces and it's light and it's small, and you can use it as a crash cam because it doesn't cost very much. You see what I'm getting at here? I think GoPro's missed the mark a little bit, but I think they can rectify this. I think they've moved in the right direction. They just need to take a step back, look at what the use case is for cameras like what they've made, and make some small changes. I think they can still get there. I don't think that they should judge the success of this new camera based on what it is now. I think they need to do another step, change it slightly, add the things that people actually want on a small camera, and I think judge its successfulness based on that. I just hope they don't see how it sells this time, which, hate to say, but I assume is going to be somewhat of a flop, and then just cut it. I hope that they stick around and they give it another go. So that's my thoughts on the new GoPro ILS. If you've got any questions about this setup, or what I think about anything else, just hit me up. Peace.